All right, and we should be live.
All
And
right.
for those hanging out in the YouTube chat, I apologize for being a few minutes late starting the stream, but looks like all is good. You guys hanging out in the YouTube chat, give me a yay or a nay on my audio. Also, Steve, give us a sound check.
1, 2, 4, 3, 7, 10.
Those are numbers. So
Yep.
can you guys hear both me and Steve? Because our audio streams are on a different stream. Also, I'll preview the chat here a little bit.
10.
Looks like we've got both of our audio working. Great.
Awesome.
All right. So today, obviously, I'm here with Steve, creator of XeroLinux. You guys know him online as DarkXero. And we're going to have a little discussion, a lot about XeroLinux, obviously. We may have some general Linux discussions as well. Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing great. A little bit sweaty because I just opened the door and reached home. I'm the one who needs to apologize to everyone. We're late because of me. I was in the car when I realized it was already almost 10 a.m. So excuse me. Sorry, guys. I apologize.
Well, it's all right because I gave them some entertainment because we started a poll when we realized you were going to be a few minutes late. What's the best shell on Linux? Surprisingly, Bash is winning. That kind of shocked me.
That shocks me too because ZSH is not far behind.
Actually, what's shocking is I gave them 4 shells: Bash, Fish, ZSH, and the Emacs E shell, which hasn't got a single vote. But Bash, Fish, and ZSH are all about, like, they're very similar as far as the votes they're getting. I was actually surprised that we had such a wide distribution there.
Yeah.
But the Emacs E shell obviously is not getting any love this morning.
I personally use Z shell. I'm used to it. First thing I do when I install XeroLinux, because on XeroLinux, I left it as Bash to be the default, although Arch itself switched to ZSH not too long ago. But I switched it back to Bash because people are more used to they're used to Bash. So I kept it as Bash and put a choice in the toolkit if they want to switch to ZSH. The first thing I do is switch to ZSH out of the box. But yeah, there's a lot of, I like Fish because I see you use it and it's not bad. It's very close to Bash, but the syntax obviously is a little bit different. But there are options in Fish that look interesting to me. I need to try it. But right
one
now,
of the things, Fish over the years has changed a little bit. Well, when I first started using it, 5-6 years ago or whatever, trying it out, it was a little weirder than it is now. They've added a lot more compatibility now for those of you used to using Bash, to where if you enter something, many commands that use Bash syntax, if you happen to enter that in the Fish shell, a lot of times it'll actually do something with it now, where before it would just give you errors like, hey, this isn't Fish code, this is Bash code, or but now for the most part, it's under a lot of development, obviously. Actually, Bash is under a lot of development. They put out new versions all the time too, so really all these shells are rather good. Of course, ZSH, of course, is your favorite because you're coming from the Mac world, right?
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons, because I used to work for Apple. Big surprise.
Yeah.
But it's really customizable and easy to customize, especially the way it's installed on XeroLinux. Sorry, I'm putting my earphones on so it doesn't do a return. But I like customization, and the way it's done on XeroLinux is when you install ZSH, it pulls all the plugins from the source repository. It doesn't activate all of them. It just activates the ones that are useful, but it puts them in the directory in case users want to activate them instead of having to pull from source for everyone. It just pulls everything, and you enable the ones you want. I just enabled Git and 1 or 2 other ones.
Well, Steve, I think most everybody in the chat probably is familiar with you if they've been watching this channel, especially. You've appeared many times on the channel before, and obviously you have your own YouTube channel. We've got XeroLinux. You're all over the place in the community. But let's imagine there's a few people probably watching this stream that probably don't know who you are. So we need an origin story. So give us the
Yep.
Marvel character origin story of how you got started with Linux, and especially how you decided to create XeroLinux. What was the idea behind it?
All right. Thank you for that, DT. Well, my name is Steve. I'm from Lebanon, a country that is not everybody knows about, so small it is. But my origin story is I discovered Linux when I was working for Apple. I was sick of and tired of using Apple devices because we're forced to. The fact that we were forced, not the devices were amazing, just the fact that we were forced to use it because we were working for, I was working for Apple, just didn't sit well with me. So I was like, I'm not going to use Windows because Windows we've been using since we were born almost. So I wanted something different. And somebody told me, here's Linux Mint. No surprise there. I managed to break it within 15 minutes. So I was like, yeah, I don't like that. Cinnamon, boring, looks too much like Windows. I don't want that. I want something really different. That's when I discovered Manjaro KDE. And when I discovered Manjaro KDE, I fell in love with something called Linux. I told myself, Linux, no more Windows. And as soon as I came back home, when I left Apple, I only lasted 8 months over there. So when I came back home, my computers, no more Windows, just Linux. I had 3 computers at home, wiped Windows, installed Manjaro KDE, and stuck with that for 6 months maybe. And then I discovered, like you, DT, Arco Linux. And when I discovered Arco Linux, thanks to the beauty of Arch Linux, and I discovered also that Eric Dubois' YouTube channel teaching us how to create our Arch-based distro. That was it for me. I was like, finally, I can create something. And it didn't take very long because Eric Dubois' videos were very detailed. He had one video when he calls them what ifs, all the ideas he gets, he calls them what ifs. He made a 4-hour-long video detailing how to create a Arch-based distro using Calamares. And I was like, that's what I've been waiting for. And the rest is history. I created XeroLinux. I just forked basically Arco Linux's Calamares and everything. And I started removing Arco Linux from everywhere I could find. I built XeroLinux. That was the base. I was like, yeah, I like KDE, but I want to ship a customized KDE. I did. This
Well,
is where,
you focused, especially it seems with your distribution, you focus a lot on eye candy. So
yeah, that's what I
obviously,
was getting to.
what made you decide to choose focusing mainly on aesthetics as kind of the central focus of the distribution?
In the beginning, that was the central focus, yes, because I come from an art background. My uncle was an artist, a recognized artist in Lebanon, Greece, France, and all European countries. And my mom was an actress. My dad was a producer director. So I come from a very artistic background. So visuals matter to me.
Yeah,
But
and
when I started,
while you're speaking, Steve, I'm actually going to show virtual machine of XeroLinux, so you're not witnessing it, but the YouTube chat is saying this
yeah,
rather aesthetically pleasing distribution here that is really
yeah.
quite lovely.
But when I began the aesthetics, I took the wrong route. I tried at first to mimic Garuda,
Mm.
and you can imagine how unstable the system was. what that's what made me think about stability and aesthetics at the same time. So
Mm-hmm.
I worked on stability. I ignored aesthetics. I got the aesthetics, but I wanted to make it more stable. By making it more stable, I had to shave off some weight
Mm-hmm.
from the aesthetics, like not having a visualizer in the top, two music visualizers in the top panel, using like a gig of RAM alone. And Latte Dock was using a gig of RAM on its own. So I had to start playing with, I needed to balance everything, play a balancing act,
Right, because Garuda is kind of an eye candy distro. It's just
but heavy.
they went a little too far for you. Would that be
Yeah,
safe to say?
it was like out of the box. This is going to shock people. In the early days of XeroLinux, on cold boot, it was using 6 gigs of RAM.
Hmm.
That was that was wrong. So
That's just from all the background services running.
yeah, and that's where, and I'm going to say something shocking here. May he rest in peace. Gamer King, a kid on my Discord server, he's the one who hit me with, check out the background services, get rid of the unnecessary ones. He passed away during the war last October. But he was a genius. When it came to stability, he was a genius. He's the one who pointed out all the factors that were causing the distro to be very heavy, very resource hungry, and everything. It's because of him I owe the stability to Gamer King. May he rest in peace. But this is where I want to. You can show my face again because I'm going to show something on.
No, you're on
end.
screen now. You're
okay.
Good.
So I'm going to show Zero Cosmic.
Okay.
This is an upcoming release. It's not going to be released anytime soon. I'm waiting for Cosmic to be stable. There's no point in releasing a beta product.
Let me see if I can get this a little bigger. The resolution's not great, but I think they'll be able to.
Yeah,
see.
well, I'm going to describe everything anyway.
All right.
I'm using my slow internet, so the upload is going to cause the image to be pixelated a bit. But that's such are things in Lebanon. But this is Zero Cosmic. It will start with a dialogue, a YAD dialogue that I wrote, a simple YAD dialogue. Why did I write that? It's because I want people to have time, to take their time to connect to the internet, because starting December, all XeroLinux spins will require a valid internet connection. I'll show you why. Because I took the route of something called net install. In case you don't know what a net install is basically downloads and installs packages from the internet.
Yeah.
From the Arch repositories, basically. So when I reached here, we got, I decided to include the Nvidia drivers in Calamares for those who have an Nvidia card. It's just important to choose the right one for the right card. I'll be updating the Zero Wiki, showing you how you can tell, but net install is back. So this is very important because finally it took me 5 years to figure out how to install the Nvidia drivers and enable the specific kernel modules and stuff through Calamares. I'm going to say one thing about Calamares. Calamares is dumb. Because I tried, I wrote a script thanks to ChatGPT because I'm not a developer, coder, but I wrote a successful script in ChatGPT that detects what Nvidia card is being used in the system and installs the driver itself. You don't need to select anything in Calamares. But unfortunately, because the installed system is not done installing, there's no resolve.conf, so basically a way to connect to the internet, so it will fail updating the database and installing packages. So I had to revert back to the net install module of Calamares because in there is an internet connection because it uses the live environment's internet connection. Right. So to me, that is how I can. It makes Calamares dumb in my eyes. But
there was a time where you had decided to quit shipping
net install.
Yes, the standard, kind of installer. You were favoring more of an installation script.
Yeah.
But now you're back to Calamares, but you still have problems with it.
Well, it's not about that. The script is still there, but it doesn't install XeroLinux. It just installs my, how can I put it? My idea of the way you should install 5 desktop environments. You got Plasma, you got XFCE, you got GNOME, you got Hyperland, and you got Cosmic Alpha or Beta soon. So you got 5 desktop environments, 4 desktop environments and 1 window manager, but they're all vanilla. But instead of installing the minimal, what Arch install would do, so I replicated what I install on XeroLinux, the distro, into a script minus the config. There's no desktop config. There's nothing. It's vanilla, everything. So it's still there. It's for people who prefer my way of installing each desktop environment versus the way Arch install does things. I just created for those kind of people. I didn't want to ship verbatim XeroLinux in the script. I just wanted to give them the freedom. What my script does, on the other hand, it enables chaotic AUR and my repository, plus it installs my toolkit in case you want to use it. Because my toolkit is valid for vanilla Arch or XeroLinux.
So, yeah, I will. Obviously, as somebody that uses Arch and is very Arch centric, and you focus mainly on Arch.
Yeah.
Really, I think it's to the point where pretty much every Arch Linux distribution should probably just enable the chaotic AUR out of the box. Right? It just needs to be there. For one thing, it saves people from going and needing to manually grab things from the AUR themselves and compile it, which can be dangerous. Right? We've talked about this here in recent weeks. You know, some of the weird malware and things that have appeared in the AUR, where the chaotic AUR hopefully filters out some of that, and you're getting binary builds of, you know, all these packages from the chaotic AUR instead of having to compile. So yeah, I wish more distributions just went ahead and had that enabled just out of the box.
And that was the point of chaotic AUR, because back in the day, since I'm part of a distro maintainers group, back in the day, they wanted to rename it into something else. Instead of chaotic AUR, there was a different name. But the point has existed for a long time, for at least 3 years. They wanted to create a centralized AUR repository that everyone can use. It took a while to be put in place because, as you can imagine, thousands upon thousands of packages. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're using GitHub Actions to compile the packages.
Okay, yeah.
So, and they do filter out malicious packages. TNE, one of the maintainers of the chaotic AUR, he mentioned that they filter packages. They don't accept any package that's requested, because they do accept requests, but they once you request a package, it goes through a validation process before they add to the chaotic AUR. So you're not going to have verbatim exactly everything that exists on the AUR on the chaotic AUR. It has to go through a process. So that's why I trust the chaotic AUR. Plus, I know one of the maintainers, so I wish all Arch-based distros had the chaotic AUR, because it makes things way better on Arch. Like,
well, that's certainly, you know, with your distribution, you've got a lot of obvious customizations. We've talked about the eye candy, but the under the hood stuff. So, you know, things like you mentioned drivers, you mentioned chaotic AURs there. What else is under the hood that maybe people don't recognize some of the work going on?
Like, for example, recently someone on Mastodon, a lady on Mastodon, who works for I think a organization for the disabled, various disabilities. She mentioned her friend, a blind person. She was like, you could have included something for the blind on your distro. She liked my distro very much. And she was like, it's missing accessibility features. I asked her, like, what? She was like, text-to-speech for the blind.
Yeah.
One example. So under the hood, Orca has been enabled on XeroLinux. It's a text-to-speech application that works. It's a GNOME-based application, but it works on KDE and Cosmic. So I included it as of the release of September. So now XeroLinux has text-to-speech Orca for the blind.
Yeah, and Orca's been around forever. Yeah, Orca's
but not many distributions included.
You know, I haven't run standard Ubuntu on any of my machines in a while, as far as the desktop version. Obviously, do a lot with Ubuntu server, but Ubuntu 15, 20 years ago was shipping that thing. I would assume they're probably still doing it. Yeah, I don't know.
What I meant was Arch-based distros. Sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Arch,
like CachyOS doesn't ship it by default.
Yeah.
So I decided to ship it, and when she tested it, she was like, and she got a copy of XeroLinux. There you go. So this is one thing. XeroLinux doesn't ignore anyone. I didn't know what package was needed to make it work for disabled people like the blind. So if you have any ideas for other disabilities that I can include on XeroLinux, feel free to let me know, and it will be included, no problem. I don't have a preference for groups of people. Like you ask me to enable something and it's valid, it's going to be included on XeroLinux. I have no walls to stop you. But the problem the XeroLinux is encountering right now, there's no contributions.
No.
I can, like, as a single person maintainer, there's only so much I can do. So if XeroLinux is to grow, it needs contributors, a lot more contributors. So if you feel like contributing to XeroLinux, let me know. But as a single maintainer, that's as much as I can do. What I just showed you right now on Cosmic with the net install, this took me 5 years to get there. Mm-hmm. So if I had other people working with me, I would have gotten there way sooner.
Nope.
So, but yeah, and Zero Cosmic, the reason I'm working on Zero Cosmic as opposed to anything else is because Cosmic is a brand shiny new toy, and it's an interesting desktop environment. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I like
one of the things with the Cosmic desktop, when you showed your screen a minute ago, that dock at the bottom. I notice you always put a dock on your yeah. Pretty much every, but they're not all the same program. What is that? Just like a dash to dock program, or what is that?
No,
I mean, I know they're kind of
it's part of Cosmic.
That's what I was mentioning. It's part of their desktop. It's kind of like the GNOME dash to dock, right?
I will need to show something interesting, because you know how an application exists on GNOME called GNOME Tweaks?
Sure.
Guess what? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Tweaks for Cosmic. There you go.
Yeah, cool.
And the best part of this one is you have the layouts: Ubuntu layout, Windows layout, Mac layout, Cosmic layout, and soon enough there will be XeroLinux layout in case they want to restore it.
Right.
But the best part of this tool is you can customize everything, and then save all your settings as a snapshot.
Mm-hmm.
And restore it whenever you mess anything up. Cosmic Tweaks, and you can download color themes from the Cosmic color schemes from the Cosmic Tweaks itself.
Yeah, all they need is Solarized Dark or something cool like.
I'm using Dracula, so
Dracula. Hey, that's a respectable theme.
Yeah. So, but
especially if your eyes are bad, Dracula's got some nice contrast, so it's easy to read.
Yep. There is a problem, however, with Cosmic, and will exist for a long time, even after stable is released, is Qt theming. Yep. Qt theming is not coming anytime soon. They're going to work on it last. They care about GTK and Cosmic apps right now. It's not on their plate at the present moment.
That just makes it like every other desktop environment. They all have that problem. Every single one of them.
Well, less, to a certain degree, KDE less than others.
I knew you were going to defend Plasma, but come on. They have some problems with the way
They do. I agree, they do. But they have a system in place to theme as many GTK apps as possible. For now, it's GTK 3. They're still stuck at GTK 3. GTK 4 is more difficult. You have to do some tweaking. But other than that, if you have a GTK 3 app still, they're going to respect your system theme, no problem on KDE. As soon as you go libadwaita, that's a different story.
Right, that's where things get screwy.
Yeah, so
that's where it gets screwy even on GNOME. It's when you're mixing, GTK 3, GTK 4,
and as you mentioned,
GTK 5 going forward. It's going to be a bigger mess.
And as you mentioned, all my spins look the same, with a panel at the top and a dock at the bottom. What do we call this? We call this consistency. And XeroLinux is all about consistency. That's why. So
it's just you're trying to deliver that Mac feel.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Hey, I used to work for Apple, so it's where do you think that comes from? So, but the reason I did this also is because I don't want people who download, let's say, the GNOME edition to be surprised to think it's a different distro.
Mm-hmm.
This is my signature look. So I might as well use it on every single spin.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So
in the YouTube chat, Benny is asking, is this distro the paid one? This is something we should talk about because
yes,
I was actually showing a VM of your KDE Plasma version as well. And, now when you go and download ISOs, you do have the option of downloading a test version
yep, a demo.
or the actual version, which is
Yeah,
the paid for version, the demo version. That's what
yeah,
you're calling it. Yeah.
yeah,
So, can you explain what you're doing with that?
yeah. I will. Thank you for that question. The demo version is just basically what you see here without the installer. There's no way for you to install.
Yeah.
It's just a live environment, so you mess with it. I know with the full version you can do that as well, but it's just for testing, so no need
Right.
to have the installer baked in. So you just
Yeah.
it does, and I want it so it's a way for you to test it without messing with your system.
Yeah,
You
and I'll
just boot
switch
it
back
off.
to the VM that I'm in here. It's basically you boot it off a USB stick. You get to play around with it.
Yeah.
It's a live environment. There's no installer, so you can't install it. The physical hardware. This is the demo version of the KDE Plasma. So
And it comes with other caveats. Another caveat is I limited the cow size space, and if no one knows what cow space is, it's basically the space that the ISO has to play around. So I limited it to 100 megs, so people don't start installing things and break the live environment, though you can just reboot and it's going to reset. Plus, the other caveat is you cannot, like, for example, you want to install the Nvidia drivers, you cannot install them because once you reboot, it's going to reset everything.
right.
And there's something I keep mentioning people don't understand. It's the fact that Nouveau has been blacklisted on XeroLinux. I'll explain why. For Nvidia users, for some unexplained reason, I even tested the latest Mesa driver. It's still, for whatever reason, broken on XeroLinux. I'm not saying it's broken in general, but I can't figure it out. It's whenever you boot the live environment with Nouveau enabled for Nvidia users, the CPU is backed at 100%. You can barely move from the mouse.
That's interesting because I had this issue yesterday. I updated all of my computers. I typically do that on the weekend. I run Arch on this computer, run Arch on the home computer. The home computer is the only one that's an Nvidia machine.
Yeah.
And I noticed that updating the system, just doing a, Pac-Man SYU, it took well over an hour for the
that's
update
strange.
on that machine, and I couldn't understand it. It took 5 minutes on this machine doing the same update, the same day, same number of packages. And it wasn't an internet speed issue because, you pull up the browser, everything's
you look at
working.
The CPU is pegged at 100%.
It was just weird, and I couldn't. And the only difference between those two computers, really, the major difference, is AMD versus Nvidia.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I can't figure it out. I tried asking on the distro maintainers group. I get yelled at. They tell me to figure it out. I'm like, okay. Same thing happens with, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying because they're so preoccupied with their own projects, they have no time to assist me, especially Cashy OS developers. They're doing so much good work on their distro, and they're always battling one thing or the other. They just tell me, go to our GitHub, read our code, figure it out. It's not wrong to say that, but for me, I couldn't tell make heads or tails from all their code because they're developers. I am not. So I'm doing things the only way I know how, and I will mature with time. It will take me longer because I'm alone. I don't have contributors. But NVIDIA, I couldn't figure it out. So I blacklisted the Nouveau driver. That's why you have to install the NVIDIA drivers either right now, post-install, or after December, you'll have it in Calamares. It will do everything for you. You will have nothing to worry about. But on the live environment itself, for NVIDIA users, Nouveau is blacklisted. So if you have multiple monitors, only one will function because of Nouveau being blacklisted. But don't worry. Once you install the drivers, boot your system, done deal. Everything is going to work, no problem. And I want to mention a tool that, I don't know if you know Matt from Matt's Creative, and now Viking something, his server is called. Anyway.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
He mentioned a tool called switcheroo controls. Remember NVIDIA Prime, the one that switches from, if you have a hybrid system, you launch an application on separate GPUs? This is basically the same thing, but it's not on the AUR, it's on extra repositories, so it's on the main Arch repositories.
Okay.
It allows you to do the same thing, especially in case of dual dedicated GPUs. Like you have one Nvidia, one AMD, you can tell each application to launch on separate GPU. Amazing tool. It's going to be included on XeroLinux out of the box starting December. So no more hybrid issues. So in 5 years, it took me 5 years to solve the two major issues, the NVIDIA drivers and the hybrid situation. But it's solved now, starting December, on December ISOs. But as for the demos, they're free of charge because XeroLinux is a donation-based distribution. The reason for which we'll get into in a minute, but
somebody in the chat was asking, hey, can I just DD everything from the live environment and kind of install it with some Grub tinkering? Don't do that. Yeah, don't. He's just asking for like a few bucks. Like, we're not dealing with crazy amounts of money to buy the distribution, but don't start DDing anything.
No, here's the thing. I must admit that it's not a couple of dollars. It's $15. It's not
but yeah, I'm going to assume $15 is not a crazy amount of money to most folks.
To most folks, but there are some folks who consider that a crazy amount, especially like GNOME edition is $20, and the Cosmic version will be $25. Yeah. But here's the thing. There's one person that asked me a very valid question. Because if you look at CachyOS, in a single installer, you can select whatever desktop environment you want during the installation. Why don't I do that? Well, because I don't know how to, and there's no, and Calamares does, and here's another thing. Calamares does not have a manual. It's not like you can go read the manual of Calamares and do it. Because this is something they discovered they can do with Calamares, so they did it. Yeah. I can't figure it out. I want to, so I have a single ISO, charge for a single ISO, and not suffer the why is it $20, why is it $25 situation. Yeah.
This is something you often get into when you get into any kind of scripting, programming, any kind of development work. when you're dealing with really niche things, like how many people really need to fool with the Calamares installer? Just distro maintainers, and just distro maintainers that want to use Calamares, because there's plenty of distros that use other installers. You know, they have their own, they build their own custom thing from the ground up. So, you know, when you get into really niche things, because I've gotten into some things where, you know, I wanted to do some cool things with some scripting or programming on something, and it was such a niche kind of thing I was trying to do. You can't find any information on it, so you have to, you got to do all the work yourself, and that can be tough. And then
it is tough.
And then the people that are in that kind of situation, when they do all that work themselves, they don't typically share it with the world because nobody else needed that information, at least you assume. So usually they don't even publish what they've done, you know, give back to the community. So that's a really tough thing.
Not to be too harsh towards Calamares, their documentation is in the files themselves. They add comments in the files themselves, but they're not full-fledged. It's not full-fledged documentation. It's like, this is how you change the value of this. This is how you change the value of that. But there's no documentation for multiple desktop environments module. There's no information for that. Absolutely. And I even asked ChatGPT. You know what response I got from ChatGPT? Please point me to a valid Calamares documentation.
Right.
Like there is none. And that's why I'm asking you.
When ChatGPT can't find a source for anything, it wants a source. So I was like, hey, I've got no information on this.
Exactly. So
you know, back in the day, you know, say 25 years ago, you know, way before Linux was popular, way before I was on Linux as a desktop user, really before free software, open source software was nearly as popular as it is now. No, everything was proprietary software. And this was always the frustrating thing when I was doing any kind of work, maybe building websites, doing some kind of web dev stuff, you know, playing around, tinkering with things. And I, you know, asked for people for various, I knew they had the knowledge, they had done it themselves on various projects. Hey, can you share what you did with this PHP code, JavaScript, you know, whatever it happened, whatever you did with this database? And people were like, no, it's mine. It
Yeah.
took me a while to figure out. I'm not going to share it, but there was no open source mentality to this. It's hey, I did it myself. I'm not sharing it with the world, which is perfectly okay. It's everybody's right. But what
Yeah.
shocks me is how many people in the open source community are like that. I mean, it's not like they purposely don't. It's not like it's out there and then they take it away from people. They never put all of their code out there. Like for me,
Yeah.
if I write something, I think it's somebody, even one person, would find it useful. Damn, throw it up on GitHub or GitLab. You'd
Yeah.
be surprised. 10 years from now, somebody will be struggling, and they will find that bit of code that hopefully you chose to share.
Well,
Anyway,
recently I discovered something. it's it's
yeah.
it's a joke. To me, it sounded like a joke, but there's some guy calling himself XeroLinux with a Z, not with an
Hmm.
X. He changed one letter, and since I didn't copyright XeroLinux, there's no copyright. He's free to use XeroLinux. I'm not gonna yell at him, but what he did was come to my server, ask me a million questions. What does this do? What does that do? He didn't know. He had no idea about Linux, how Linux functions, let alone Arch. He was just
Hmm.
he just forked my code, which I had no problem with. That's why it's using the GPL v3 license. Forked my code, and he didn't change anything. He was like, even the build script was there. He forked it when the build script was still on the repo, because it's no longer there. Each person has to create their own build repo because everyone has their own way of creating a build script. So I use Eric Dubois' build script. So I took permission from him and I modified it, and with time it changed. But he forked it and he didn't know what Calamares was. He didn't know what each package was. He kept asking me questions about each and every package included in the packages x86-64. Like, I'm like,
Hmm.
hey, dude, you don't know what Linux is. What are you doing using Linux or trying to build a distro? He was like, you said we are free to build it. I was like, yeah, but you need to understand what Linux is. He was like, no, I use a Mac. I'm just trying to build it and give it away. And he managed in the end, managed to build an ISO, and I saw it on what's it called, SourceForge,
Hmm.
and it was the same ISO. He didn't build an ISO every month or anything. He just built once, and he left it.
Yeah.
In 3 years, it had 6 downloads. So because something was broken in there and he couldn't figure it out, so he let it go. But I get a lot of people like that.
Well,
I'm free.
it's like all the people on Arch that just build a new Arch ISO every month. I mean, they just feel like they need to build the ISO themselves. Some people,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
but
Hey.
it was a long way of saying I'm not like other people. If you want to learn something, just ask me and I will tell you how to do it. Like,
Mhm.
remember Alex from the Linux Tube?
Yep.
Linux Tube. Alex from
Yep.
the Linux Tube. My Kuya. He asked me a lot of questions. I pointed everything out. I helped as much as I could. We reached an impasse because he asked me something I had no idea about, so I couldn't help. But I helped him with things that I had ideas about. So if you want to learn how to build your own distro, come to me. I can teach you. My doors are open. I will never
Mhm.
close the doors in your face, unlike others. I'm
People
not
that
just gonna point you to my repo and tell you figure things out on your own. Just ask me.
people that want to grab the ISOs. Where are the ISOs actually hosted? I'm sure there's
The
links on the XeroLinux website. You still at XeroLinux.xyz? Is that still
Yeah,
the?
for the demo ISOs there, and the full ISOs, Xenolance, my good pal Xenolance, I kudos to Xenolance because without him I wouldn't have been able to upgrade my GPU to RX 7800 XT. But he offered me a Linode server VPS.
Mhm.
So the ISOs are hosted there, but now there's a portal that will ask you for your email and a code. So once you donate, the way I have it set up for the full ISOs, once you donate, you will receive a code that I manually generate. I have using your email. So once you donate, I will receive an email from Ko-Fi. I will see your email in there. I paste your email in my script that I created myself from scratch without the help of ChatGPT this time because it was an easy script to do. So I created that script. I select the edition they donated for. Like there's KDE and GNOME right now. I select KDE, paste your email, it will generate a code. And the code will start either with KDE or GNOME, but with random characters and numbers at the end. You receive that code by message on Ko-Fi. That's why you need to use a valid email. And once you receive the code, you type your email in the portal, and you paste the code, and you have it automatically. The script is smart enough to open the appropriate page for the appropriate ISO. But they're hosted on a VPS, because I cannot host it on my web host anymore due to the fact that they go down very often if you put large files like ISOs on there. So we have a VPS in place with 2 terabytes of bandwidth, monthly bandwidth. So it's all good. It's functioning great. And yeah, this is where they're hosted, but you donate on Ko-Fi. For the demos, same thing. They're on the VPS, but without a portal. You just go to the URL, download the ISO, and you're good to go. But yeah, please don't DD it, though.
Well, that guy in the chat did mention, oh, sorry, I was joking. Okay, I was wondering what you were going to do with DD. I mean, there are ways to image things and then copy them to a drive, but that's so...
Yeah, and there's
it's time consuming, and it's not guaranteed to work. Like I spent $8 at McDonald's this morning on breakfast. You know, I can give Steve $15 to save me that headache of whatever it is you're trying to do, making an image of a live ISO and then copying it to, you know.
Another problem is not everything is included on the live environment. There are I intentionally left out a few packages, so you won't get. So they're not packages that are front and center. They're back-end packages.
Yeah.
I did it intentionally, so
because I noticed
how to DD.
I noticed on the VM, I'm going to pull the VM back up for the YouTube chat. There is a ton of stuff on this live environment. Like there are so many programs. I'm looking at KDE, but like so many utilities and system programs. You got a lot of multimedia stuff. But the craziest thing, Microsoft Edit. I'm pulling up the Microsoft Edit program.
You found it, huh?
Like, well, right there in the menu system. That's your default editor now, or are we still including other things?
It's included as
I'm sure Kate is there.
Bonus.
That's on Plasma, right?
No, it's a bonus, but on my private machine, when I do Nano, it does MS Edit.
Yeah.
I alias Nano to MS Edit because I like it better than Nano. I'm that kind of guy. And when I want to do sudo nano, I aliased it to snano. Snano does sudo MS Edit. So yeah, that's what I use, and I love it. Thank you, Microsoft, for that. But you found it. I didn't think anyone would see it.
It says, thank you, Microsoft.
That's the only thing I'm going to say thank you for. Yeah. But which brings me to the biggest question of all. Why is XeroLinux paid? Donation behind a donation wall. Well, as hard as it is for me to say, as a one-man distro maintainer in Lebanon, unfortunately, the worst country in the Middle East, one of the worst countries in the Middle East, until I find a job, that's the only thing that will pay the bills. And a lot of projects these days are going paid. If you notice, in the free open source world, there are a few more packages appearing every now and again that have a free version and a paid version. Like DaVinci Resolve, we can't mention because it's been like that since ever. But there are some packages, you get the package fully free. You don't have anything behind a paywall, but there are support portals. You have 1 or 2 features behind a paywall. And other distros are being paywalled, have a paid version versus a free version. That's what I did.
DaVinci Resolve is proprietary software, and that's kind of standard.
That's why I didn't want to mention.
Free and open source software, I mean, a famous example is Ardour, because they've been doing this forever. Is you know, they have, it's all open source. There's a free version. If you want the latest version, a binary build of it, compile it yourself or pay them a little money.
That's exactly the model XeroLinux is doing. So I'm building for them. They pay if they want me to build it for them, hence the ISO. If they want to build it, they can fork my code from GitHub and build it themselves. Same thing as Ardour. I took the idea from Ardour. So I don't know why people are surprised and they keep attacking me for putting it behind a paywall.
It costs money. Yeah, I mean to build software anyway. A famous example, obviously, I've mentioned this many times. Richard Stallman has sold plenty of software. Richard Stallman sold a lot of copies of Emacs back in the day when you had to put it on physical media and ship it to people. You know,
because it costs to put it on physical media.
He wasn't going to do that for free, and nobody expected him to do that for free. The software is free, but damn, I got to put this, on a drive and send it to you. You're paying some money.
Exactly. So, and not only for that, and the point of this stream is because I'm moving. I'm going to be making a video as well on Wednesday about this on my own channel. But I thought with the help of DT, with the exposure that DT has, maybe my message will get across faster, because in this situation, time is of the essence, because I have to raise the money before the end of the month. There's a fundraiser on Ko-Fi right now that explains everything. But I may seem fine and dandy right now is because I'm on a ton of pills. But hey, medication. It works. When it works, it works. But I'm moving. I'm not going for a visit. I'm moving this time to Serbia, back to Serbia, because I was there during the war last October. I enjoyed it so much that I mentioned it to my doctors when I was here. I was like, hey, there's Serbia. I know a lot of doctors there. They're cheaper. They were like, yeah, you need to get out of Lebanon because you're under a lot of pressure here. Go somewhere you can breathe. I was like, yeah, Serbia. When I mentioned it, they were like, yeah, go anywhere you want. We don't care where you go, but you need a breather. Plus the fact that we don't have specific therapists for ADHD here. I have to go to Serbia because there's a therapist I know there from the last time I went. I'm going to go back to the therapist, and this time I'm moving. I'm not coming. I don't know when I'm coming back, if I'm coming back. The fundraiser's point is to raise enough money to be able to get myself a mini PC so I can continue work on XeroLinux, because I don't have, I only have a screen, a keyboard, and a mouse over there. I don't have a computer. And some people mentioned, why don't you take your ThinkPad? I was like, the ThinkPad is not powerful enough to build ISOs. It heats up like crazy, and it goes. And I saw the blue kernel panic screen for the system D screen or kernel panic screen here 3 times already.
Yeah, so, those old ThinkPads. I'm assuming it's an old one. The CPUs on the CPUs on those things are nowhere near powerful enough to compile anything.
Yeah, when I get a kernel update, the CPU hits 100% for like 10 minutes before it can. So,
and that's just installing the binary build of the kernel. Imagine if you had to build it. Yeah, you would start in the morning and it might finish that evening.
Not really. I did build a few ISOs here. It takes approximately 1 hour and 8 minutes for each ISO.
Yeah, but what about the kernel time? Have you built
minutes. it? 15 minutes.
On that machine? On a 7-year-old machine?
No, compiling the kernel is different.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Compiling the kernel will take a whole day. But
I wanted ISOs, I was about to say, I want that ThinkPad, Steve.
No, compiling ISOs takes 1 hour and 8 minutes, but for kernels it takes like around 4 to 5 hours. That's if it doesn't kernel panics and gives me the blue screen and sends me back. But this is not nearly as powerful enough to be able to compile XeroLinux, because if anybody who maintains a distro knows, you have when you're working on a distro, you have to compile and test an ISO. You know this, DT, you tried it. You have to compile at least 20, 30 ISOs every couple of hours to just keep building, testing, building, testing, building, testing. So that would kill this machine. This machine, I would have thrown it in the garbage if I continued to do that on it. So that's the fundraiser's purpose, because I'm going to be in Serbia for a very long time. I need just a mini PC. It's like, I just saw one that is very powerful, only $680.
Yeah. So, is that like kind of like the Nux or the little box, mini box? Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes with an HDMI connection, and there's pretty much not much to them.
It's got everything.
Yeah.
So let me see if I have it over here still, because I want to show it off. Where is it? Give me a second here. And by the way, in Lebanon, Telegram died for whatever reason. To connect with family and friends. Now they blocked it. I'm stuck. I want to cry. Anyway, where is my internet is so your internet is unstable, I get.
My
Okay,
internet or
let
your
me
internet?
see. I just want to show it. My internet. Your internet is like amazing. I would dream to have your internet. It's
Yeah.
just because
Well,
it's
occasionally
a
I will have
weekend,
networking
and the
issues
weekend
here,
is
but
unlimited downloads.
yeah. But yeah, today being a
Yeah.
Sunday, usually nobody is here at this office building. Usually I'm the only one. That's why I do these streams on Sunday. Typically, it's because we need a stable network, and usually nobody's here except me on the weekends. So
Yep. No, the reason the internet is very slow today for me is because it's no caps on a weekend. So on
yeah.
a weekend, everybody's downloading because no caps. That explains it. But
Yeah.
that's the mini PC I'm looking for.
Oh, okay.
It's 600. It's 684 bucks. It's called GM Tech Knock Box
Oh,
K11.
yeah. I like that. It's got at least a
Ryzen
couple
9.
of. It's got a couple of USB, got a HDMI. What
Yeah,
else
and
does
two
it have?
Ethernets.
Two
Two Ethernet.
Ethernets. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's 32 gigs and a Ryzen 9 8945. It's the highest end you can find.
Yeah, and
On
it
a
comes
mini
with
PC.
Windows
It's the top
11.
of the line.
So, oh.
Yeah, that'll be wiped, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But that's the mini PC I'm looking for to get before I go, because that does not exist in Serbia. If I want to order this, it will never arrive to Serbia, because if people don't know anything about Serbia, it's a Balkan country. It's a third world country. So Amazon, ordering from Amazon, the taxes are, if this is $684, you end up paying $1,000.
Right.
So, and they get
It's
lost.
one of the reasons why people will often ask, hey, well, I got a computer I could send Steve, or I got a monitor I could send Steve. Well, you can't. The shipping internationally, you're going to, it's outrageous. You're going to spend more than what the equipment is actually worth on shipping sometimes to.
Like, you see this ThinkPad and the mini PC that I'm using as my home lab, those equate to approximately $700 combined. They were donated when I was in Serbia during the war last year by someone from Croatia, 4-hour drive. It took 20 days to arrive from a place that is 4 hours away, and I paid 100 euros for shipping from Croatia down the road, basically 4 hours away.
Oh yeah.
So
I've ordered things from various parts of the world, especially like China or Australia or places nowhere near the U.S. 6 weeks. Like, come on, man. How does it take that long to ship something, right?
Exactly. And in Serbia, because it's a country, without going too much into politics, it's just a country that has a government that doesn't care. So they have the customs. The customs agent can steal products. He's not going to be reported.
Well,
or
that's
anything.
That's a problem in literally every country. Is the stuff may never arrive. Right?
Exactly.
Right. So
anything
expensive you should insure before you ship it. So.
Yeah. The reason I need to raise the money by the end of the month is because I need to order this to Lebanon, because it arrives. This is from Dubai. This is not far away. This is a shop I know in Dubai. I ordered my Steam Deck from there. So I need to order it to Lebanon and take it with me before I go. That's why time is of the essence. So if anyone can help, I don't know if you have the donation link.
I got them in the YouTube chat.
Yep. If anyone can help me reach the $2,000, I set it to 2,000 because I need to pay for the tickets. I need to pay for things before I go. So it's just so I can go. Everything else is on me, but I just need enough to be able to move to Serbia.
You got to get there.
Yeah, I got to get there somehow. And XeroLinux, for whatever reason, has been stale for the past month, because not enough new changes are being included. With this major change in December, and another thing, there's a bonus. I mentioned it on my live stream last night, but I'll mention it here. If I manage to reach my goal before the end of the month, XeroLinux Cosmic Edition Beta will be available free of charge with the installer. So people can install it and test it without having to just test the demo. Install it on a separate machine, not on a production machine, just on a test machine.
I was about to say that's great to offer people the chance to help you beta test it, but they should understand it is beta.
It is beta.
And it's not beta for you. It's beta for Cosmic, right? It's still very much
Cosmic
beta.
is the beta. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be available for everyone, free of charge. It's not going to be behind a paywall. When it reaches stable, it'll be behind a paywall. But the way it's going to happen in the future for XeroLinux is it's all going to be the same price. I'm not going to increase the price per edition. That's stupid. I should stop that. That's the main complaint people are having. They're all going to be the same price. Whatever edition you select, it's all going to be the same price. So, or because it's it's a starting point. So I put it $15. It's not just $15. If you are, how do you call it? Generous enough, you can donate more. It's starting $15, and if you want to donate more, you're free to do so. To help the project out. And if you want to contribute to XeroLinux, feel free.
That was going to be my next question, because I think the biggest problem that you need to solve is you need a team. You need people.
I need a team.
That it's not a full-time job contributing to things. Can somebody give you an hour here, 2 hours there, like every now and then? Like it's, that's one of the things with free and open source software. However much you can contribute as far as time, is
even
okay.
5 minutes is enough.
Yeah,
Give me an idea.
Hey, if you can help on the support forums or whatever it is, whatever you can do, translation, even, whatever, where would people go to reach out to you for something like that?
People can reach me on Discord, Fostodon, and that's it, or GitHub.
Yeah. Or GitHub.
GitHub. If you want to do pull requests, merge requests, whatever, you're free to do so. What I really need right now is for people to help me convert my toolkit into a GUI toolkit, because I want to have 2 versions. I want to have a terminal version and a GUI version. I want to have.
That should be easy enough. What did you write it in? Did you write it in Python?
Don't laugh.
Okay.
The front matter, the main menu when you first launch the application, it's Rust.
Okay.
Rust TUI, basically. And the rest of it is bash scripts.
Just bash, okay.
That I wrote using ChatGPT. I didn't write a single line myself. I just add packages and remove packages from the packages section, but that's all I do. But the reason I need help with the toolkit to turn it into GUI, because with the GUI, I can do more things. I can have check boxes. I can offer more things, but I don't know how to create that. I tried YAD, because that's the only GUI thing I know how to do.
You know what? YAD is not bad.
It's not bad, but it's not very flexible.
No, it's not flexible. What you would need is honestly, you need to write the whole thing in Python and then use Qt. That's probably what you want is the Qt toolkit, because I know you're not a fan of GTK, but either one of them, Python is the perfect language to use for those.
My idea is to have an embedded terminal window in the GUI. You cannot do that with YAD. I tried. I tried endlessly. You can do that with YAD, but it doesn't work for package managers, for services, for stuff like that. It doesn't work. It's not very flexible. That's why I need Python with embedded terminal in the GUI. If anyone can help in that area, please do, because keeping the toolkit as TUI only is causing issues. And unfortunately, in the future, I'll be pulling down the Arch version, the vanilla Arch support, because I need to concentrate on XeroLinux. I cannot have vanilla Arch on my mind and XeroLinux at the same time.
Right.
For the toolkit, it's going to be specific to XeroLinux in the future. Not right now. Right now, it's still going to be valid for both, but I need someone to help. I need help. I cannot emphasize this more, but I need help to get it there. But basically, and another thing I need, someone who understands Calamares, who can help me with Calamares.
That's a tougher thing.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say, I promise you'll get help with creating a QDAP. That's not a problem. There's plenty of people that'll help you with that. But yeah, the Calamares installer stuff.
The thing I want to figure out is the way CachyOS is enabling support for Nvidia GPUs without including them in Calamares. It's automatic. They use something called CHWD, Cache Hardware Detection.
It's kind of like the Manjaro hardware detection.
Yeah, it's a fork of it.
Yeah,
it's a fork of it, but configured for CachyOS. But what it does is the Manjaro one is a GUI, whereas the CachyOS one is behind the scenes. Yeah. So when you first launch boot into the live environment, it already detected what GPU you have. So it prepares itself during the installation. It's not even there in Calamares. The drivers for Nvidia are not there in Calamares. You just click next. During the installation, it detects what GPU you have, installs the proper modules and everything, and you're good to go.
That doesn't seem like that would be that tough.
It is tough. Check the CachyOS repo and you'll see. It's very complex code.
For Calamares?
No, it's not Calamares. It's a script that they created that Calamares runs.
Okay.
Oh, not Calamares runs. Sorry, the live environment runs when you first boot the thing. And Calamares.
I would think it would just be a simple thing. Hey, run a check on the hardware. You got this
but I don't know how to do
GPU and.
I checked everywhere. I checked the CachyOS code. I couldn't understand anything. That's why I need developer-minded people.
What was it written in? Do you know the code?
It's Bash.
It's just a Bash script? Okay.
Yeah, it's a complex Bash script. It's not just a Bash script. It's wow of a Bash script for me. For someone who don't understand Bash, it's wow for me. It's like magic. So I need to figure out how they're doing it. I don't want to use theirs because I need to take permission and stuff. I want to have my own version, not exactly the same, just something similar. If someone can help me with that, that'll be great, because I don't want to have the drivers in Calamares. And it's not, because here's the problem with Calamares. Have you noticed when you select packages from the package chooser, the install takes forever?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. It's because for each package, let's say you selected 20 packages. For each package, it's going to run it's going to run pacman-syy.
Instead of putting them in one command, I've seen this before with people's installation scripts, is they do a loop. Yeah. But instead of doing a loop, that's the wrong way to do it, because if you loop, it's going to sudo pacman-S package 1. And sudo pacman-S package 2. And exactly. Have to, and I always have to resync the repo. And
no, in the case of Calamares, it's sudo pacman-syy.
Yep, because it has to resync. Yep.
It has to resync every time. So 20 packages is going to resync the databases 20 times for once for each package. It's and here's the thing: I had to patch that module myself, because the way they have it is sudo pacman because it's running in root as root, so it's just pacman-s package name. But because they figured out how to update the database before Calamares runs, I couldn't figure that one out, so I patched it to run syy for each package. So it syncs the repo every time, so it makes sure, because I don't know how to update the pacman packages as the thing boots. I don't know how to do that. So I had to patch this module myself by using the sed command. So when I build the pacman package, it runs during the building, the compilation. There's a command that says sed replace s with -syy in the module. So yeah, there you go. So the more packages you select, the longer the install would take, especially for Nvidia packages. The drivers, because
the
Nvidia
power
drivers,
of the sed command.
Yeah. I saw the video the other day you put up.
Sid is like, Sid is a lifesaver. It really
I
is.
use it a million times a day. I use it in the script that Calamares runs to blacklist Nouveau on the installed system. So I use sed replace this line for etc default grub, add the mod probe Nouveau equal blacklist Nouveau equals 1. So I add this to the modules, and if you select to install the Nvidia drivers, I have a script that Calamares runs that adds the modules in mkinit cpio and grub, and updates grub and init ramfs. So if you select the drivers, it will detect an Nvidia GPU and run that. If you don't select the drivers and you have an Nvidia GPU, Calamares will fail, because it's going to run the whole commands against a driver that's not installed. So it's going to fail.
I often tell people that are looking into getting into, especially bash scripting, and new to scripting and programming altogether, you would be surprised what you can do by knowing grep, sed, and awk. Like if you know those three, like you can do a lot.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to know a million different things. If you know a little bit of that, you're good.
I watched your videos. They're very simplistic, and anyone can understand. You simplified the man pages to a certain degree that anyone would understand, and especially that you're showing examples on the side in your fish terminal.
Yeah.
Perfect. This is what people were looking for.
And
you don't get that.
I've already done grep and sed. I need to do a video on awk. I'm putting that one off to the side a little bit just because that one's even much more of a beast of a command than sed. And there's a lot to sed, and I couldn't cover it all trying to keep the video small. Awk is going to be a real challenge to make that a small, digestible kind of, say 10-minute video or less. That's like, whoa, that's a tall order.
That's another thing that I should give you kudos for. The way you're simplifying the man pages, the way you do, takes a lot of work, because you have to put it in such a simplified way that anybody new to Linux would understand.
Yeah, for some of them it's easy because some commands don't have a lot to them. They don't have a lot of flags and options, but really big programs like something like awk or something like the find command, things like that. It's like, man, that's really tough to boil all that down into give me 10 or 12 examples, like what do I pick?
I'll give you another tough one, because you need to do that one. Grub.
Yeah, you know what, I hadn't thought about that, but that would be a good one to also do something on.
The reason I say that is because a lot of people are still using Grub Customizer, which is the most dangerous program you can ever use. I'll tell you why. Because KDE had a KCM for Grub Customizer. They used to have it. It's still on their GitLab or whatever, but it's no longer a package. Well, on the AUR it is, but don't use it, because they removed it for a reason. Because they noticed that a lot of people are breaking their system because of this very, very dangerous options thing. Do not use Grub Customizer. People need to learn how to customize Grub using the terminal or config files. Because if you use Grub Customizer, what will this do? It's going to nullify Grub. So Grub uses its own config files in a certain place, in a certain folder, in a certain area. If you use Grub Customizer, it's going to nullify all that. It's going to force Grub to look into Grub Customizer's version of the config in a separate location on your system. But if you want to revert back, you can't. There's no way in Grub Customizer, once you use it, to revert back. I suffered this multiple times. So there's no way back if you use Grub Customizer. And Grub Customizer completely breaks Grub now, because it hasn't been maintained in like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I understand why people that really like to just tinker with things and tweak things might want to play, but like 99.9% of desktop Linux users, they've got no business playing with the bootloader after installation. Like, just don't play with it.
I'll give you an example why people play with it. People play with it because I'm suffering from this as well. Grub, for whatever reason, if you set it to saved, if you have dual boot Windows and Linux, let's say, It's going to be, if you select to boot into Windows for whatever reason, you must be you must love hurting yourself. But if you boot into Windows and you want to boot back into Linux, it's going to default to Windows. It's going to save the selection to whatever you selected last. If you remove saved, it's going to always boot into Linux by default because Grub prefers Linux, of course. But when you install multiple kernels, like I do, because I need to have the LTS kernel for in case the stable kernel breaks for whatever reason. I keep mentioning this. It's better to have two kernels than to have one.
I keep both on my machine, even though most of the time I boot into the regular kernel, the non-LTS kernel. Yeah. I have the LTS kernel on my systems as well, just in case you know, one boots but the other one doesn't. So
yeah, but the reason people need to mess with this is because it's safe. The last selection is gonna, let's say you boot it into the LTS. If you select if you go up to the default boot entry, it's gonna boot into the LTS. It's not gonna boot into the regular kernel. You have to keep the advanced section highlighted. Don't go into it. Just leave it highlighted. It's gonna boot into the regular kernel. So the regular kernel becomes secondary and LTS takes precedence. So that's why people, like for me, I did it via terminal config file. So because I know what I'm doing. But that's why people want to mess with the bootloader, because they want to set the regular kernel back as default as a normal selection up top and the LTS as secondary. Grub doesn't do that for whatever reason. So you have to.
Somebody in the chat was asking me a question. DT, on all your Arch install videos, you switch Grub. Is Grub better than Systemd? I didn't switch to Grub. Grub's always been around. Systemd is rather new. Keep in mind, I was using Linux way before Systemd was a thing. And way before Systemd boot was a thing. So yeah, I'm just using the standard Grub. I mean, that's kind of has always been the default on Linux. There's nothing wrong with Systemd boot. It's just
Grub
is easy to install. It's also kind of easy to customize for people that want to customize things, like somebody like Steve. Obviously, that's a big deal. Systemd boot, very little you can do with it.
Exactly. But there's another reason not many people use Systemd boot. If you want to know more about the pros and cons about each different bootloader, CachyOS wiki is the best way to go, the place to go. Because they are very honest about the pros and cons. They don't hide anything. They don't tell you, and they offer you to select. I love this. I wish I can do this on XeroLinux. That's another thing I need to learn how to do. They offer you to select whatever bootloader you want. There's Limine, whatever it's called. There's Grub. There's the other one, Refined. You can select whichever you want.
Refined still under development, or is it? Is it okay?
The reason I don't like Systemd boot is one of the biggest cons of Systemd boot. If you have multiple kernels, it's not going to see them. You'll have to add the entries yourself, manually, in the Systemd boot config file. If you don't know how to do that, don't use Systemd boot.
Yeah, I've never purposely, like if I'm doing a manual install of something like an Arch system or a Gentoo system or whatever, I've always done the Grub install just because I know the commands anyway. But Systemd, like if I install a distribution that happens to default to Systemd boot, I'll use it. I've never had an issue with it.
If you use one kernel,
But I don't dual boot. Yeah, and most of the time you're not using multiple kernels. I do that on Arch, but on other distros, you'd never do that, right?
Yeah. So and another thing,
like Debian, you don't need two kernels, right? You just use the one that it shipped with, and you use it for 2 years. So.
There's another con is if you use Btrfs and you want the snapshots to show in Systemd boot, they won't show.
Yeah.
Only Grub has this ability, and Refined, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, that's the only two bootloaders that have it. So if you use Btrfs and you want to benefit from the snapshots, only Grub for now. So that's why I stick to Grub. Plus the fact I can theme it.
And the bootloader.
That's the best part.
And the bootloader is not something you really play with. Like it. You don't even look at it, because unless you're actually choosing something in the menu. Most of the time, it just boots up automatically anyway. People just shouldn't be. You shouldn't be tinkering with the bootloader. Just leave the bootloader alone. Just that's gonna be my
Yeah,
advice.
that's coming from me as a distro maintainer as well. Don't
Yeah.
touch the bootloader unless you have to for something important.
Yeah.
But if you want to mess with it the right way. Don't use Grub
Mm.
Customizer, for example, because that tool is still around for whatever reason on the AUR. It's out of date. If you go to the source tree on GitHub, you'll see 4 years ago, last commit. I'm like, don't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Plus, it's dangerous. It will break your bootloader more than it will do anything.
Yeah.
So learn about Grub. And here's another thing I want to mention. You mentioned it, I think, and others did as well. So did Brody Robertson. The Arch Wiki is not only valid for Arch, most of the time, it's valid for a lot of other distros. So if you are running Grub on, let's say, Ubuntu, the same thing on the Arch Wiki applies. So if you want to understand more about Grub, use the Arch Wiki. It's amazing. That's what taught me how to mess around. There's something called 40 underscore custom for Grub. This is where you put your custom entries for Grub. Simple as that. One file to mess with. You have an example. You have many examples in the Grub directory to start from. So it's very easy. Just modify that file. You're done. Don't use Grub Customizer. That's an example. So as for XeroLinux, XeroLinux is growing, but very slowly because I'm alone. You want it to grow faster? Contribute. That's the most important thing. That's the message of the day. But yeah.
Before we wrap up, there are some other questions because you've mentioned this a couple of times. XeroLinux is growing slowly. It does seem like Linux as a whole is growing as far as popularity, but as far as like the stat counter metrics and things. Like we're over 5% now on some of the polls, but
that's not because of Linux.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. That's where I wanted to go because I don't. What are your views on the current state of desktop Linux? And we're talking about your standard GNU/Linux. We're not talking about Chrome OS, which is something different. And you know what? We could kind of leave out the Steam Deck as well. I know technically it qualifies, but you know.
It's not because of Linux. It's growing because of the unpopularity of Windows 11. And
yes,
all the crap they're shoving into all the AI crap, and the fact that I don't know if you read this article about Windows 11's code being 30% written by AI. I was like,
that's weird because they have just a bajillion employees. What are they doing? Why would they need AI generated code?
It's like we're all in agreement. I talked to many people in the Linux community. We're all in agreement that the more AI slop is thrown into Windows, the less people trust it.
Linux is going to have the same problem
in the far in the future,
because there are going to be there already are a lot of open source developers that rely way too heavily on things like ChatGPT.
Like me, but for scripts. For me, it's just script. It's not the system itself. But when it becomes the core kernel and the core system being written by AI, I will have trust issues with Linux.
Yeah. The problem is the ChatGPT generated code is usually not great code. It's usually overly verbose. It's not well written. It's not well formatted. It's not something that anybody's going to go behind later and look at and understand a lot of time. It'll depend on the language. But, depending on the language, you can get some really crazy looking code that may work, but still, that wasn't the best way to write that thing.
Exactly, because there are a bazillion ways to write something.
Right.
The ChatGPT always, because it's got so much data to base its knowledge on, it for whatever reason, it always chooses the messy part, the long form part. Whereas, because I noticed this since I'm writing a lot of bash scripts in using ChatGPT, instead of giving me a condensed way of writing a script, it gives me a fucking, sorry for the for the cuss word, but it gives me a freaking long 700-line bash script to do something very simple. Like I spent maybe 12 hours on ChatGPT, yeah, that's a long time because I kept yelling at it. Yeah, I treat it like a person, but I started yelling at it and cussing at it to give give me a shorter script. Finally, I reached what I needed, but it took me 12 hours.
No.
So
Yeah.
yeah, if you wanted to use ChatGPT, you're going to spend hours upon hours just correcting.
Well, I use a lot of these large language models all the time now for various things, not for scripting and programming most of the time, but you know, if you know what you're doing with them, they can be great. But if you use them the wrong way, they can cause you much more work than is necessary.
You want to hear the funniest thing that happened to me recently? This is why you're right. You need to read the everything, the entire output of ChatGPT before using it, because a few weeks ago I was really tired. I wasn't seeing in front of me. It was like 3 a.m. So I was working with ChatGPT. I saw the code. Okay, it's short and whatever. I copy pasted it. It wasn't a test environment. Good thing it wasn't on on a real environment. But I tested it on a virtual machine. I did not see sudo rmrf star and the override root and thing. It added this line at the end of the script. I didn't see it. It deleted the entire root directory, and I was like, what the hell's going on? I talked to ChatGPT. It should be smarter than this. But no, it's not smart. It's not human, so it's not smart.
Well, if you've never accidentally deleted either the root directory or your home directory at least once while using Linux, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, that's true. But
I've
it happened to me multiple times. I should have seen this coming, but for ChatGPT to spit out this command at the end of the script, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
There's nothing worse too than when you realize that you've done something so horribly wrong that you've got to reinstall the operating system like there's no other choice. Because I have had that happen various times with various commands. It's not just deleting stuff. Sometimes you just change permissions on too much shit on the file system. You did a recursive chmod. Never do that, by the way. But you can really hose your system where the only way to come back from it is format the drive and reinstall. That's the only choice.
It happened to me exactly that for games because I have Windows and I had installed the games on the Windows drive, but I wanted to use them on Linux. But since I'm capped when it comes to internet, I didn't want to have to re-download the game, so I copied it from Windows. And I wanted to chmod the directory, but instead of doing it on the directory, I did it on the root.
On the root file system, because there are files on a Linux system that have to be a certain permission. And when you change all the file permissions to the same thing, you have essentially destroyed your installation. So,
because and here's the thing. I thought just by copying and pasting the game from Windows to Linux, Steam was going to figure out because on Linux, Steam creates symlinks for some configuration files for games. On Windows, symlinks are not supported. So I thought Steam was smarter than this, but apparently not. The game would crash. It wouldn't launch. So when I read a guide online that was like, chmod the games directory, give your user permission, whatever.
No.
I instead of putting /games, I put /. And the thing started, and I used sudo because the command on the tutorial said use sudo. I'm like, okay. So don't willy-nilly copy-paste commands from guides and read the guides deeply and understand them, because otherwise...
Yeah. Fearless in the chat said he had AI delete his home directory twice. Yeah. And now you've got safeguards. Yeah, you got to have a backup, especially for user data. You should have anything important in your home directory, like documents, important documents, photos. Back up that stuff, because and it's not an AI thing. I've just accidentally entered the wrong command before and deleted a home directory. I know that's crazy because, hell, a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at some support channel, Linux support channel, and somebody mentioned, hey, man, I just entered this in the terminal accidentally. I deleted my home directory. And you know what kind of comments he got? What? Why in the hell would you enter that command? You were dumb to even like. Come on.
Well,
That ain't helping the guy. I mean, you're right.
yeah,
He probably was dumb for entering that, but you don't have to tell him that.
yeah. That's why I have a spinning Rust drive.
Yeah.
And if I tell you the age of that drive, you're not going to believe me. That drive is over 15 years old.
No.
But they used to make them better than they make them today. That's for sure. It's a 500 gigabyte spinning Rust,
Oh.
but that drive has all my configs. My work directory for XeroLinux is on that thing. I don't put it in my home directory, and I use Warehouse. If you don't know about Warehouse, look it up on FlatHub. It's the best Flatpak management tool ever created. The best part of this tool is the snapshots. You can create per app snapshots. I create a snapshot once a week for all my apps that I use, even OBS. I'm using OBS Virtual Cam right now. That's how I was able to switch scenes. But even OBS's settings are complete with the connection to YouTube, and everything is backed up to this drive. So
All right.
I do snapshots with Warehouse for Flatpaks. All my configs are on there. I have nothing on the home directory, and I have a feature in my toolkit in case I break my setup, like my rice or my theme. I have a feature in my toolkit that resets it back to factory defaults, and I work from there.
Cool.
So if I lose anything, I have multiple ways to restore. So I have all the safeguards in place. So if you're smart, your system is as smart as you use it. So if you have backups, you shouldn't worry about anything. If you don't, you should have backups.
No.
So yeah.
Well, Steve, one final question I want to throw at you. This may be a strange one because it's kind of general, but as a tech fanatic and somebody that uses multiple operating systems, because we've already mentioned you're a Mac fanboy, or you were at one point. Now you use Linux. I'm sure you've used Windows plenty of times too. How has working on XeroLinux, building a Linux distribution specifically, how has that shaped your perspective on all these other operating systems or computing in general?
Good question. This one is not very easy to answer, but when it comes to Windows,
I kind of knew it when I asked it. That's why I was like, but
yeah,
for example, I can say, using Linux definitely has changed the way that I view software and computing in general. Like just the whole idea, the philosophy behind everything tech related. I'm not going to speak for me. I'll let you speak for you.
Yeah, I think I have the same thing. For me, more things should be open source, and I am noticing as of late that more and more applications on Windows are becoming open source.
Yes,
there's a lot of
them.
third-party applications, not by Microsoft. I'm saying third-party applications are becoming open source. There's a lot of tweaking tools and stuff like that are open source. But for me, for me, it will always be the same. If you are able, only if you are able, have either Mac and Linux or Windows and Linux. Have two operating systems in case you need one at any point in time. Never have a single operating system. Like for me, I don't use Mac anymore because I'm tired of it. I have a MacBook from 2016. I thank the Lord that the battery died and the screen broke, because otherwise I would have been downloading and installing things for no reason whatsoever because I don't use it. But I use Windows. I still use Windows for one reason only: for games that are multiplayer, because of the anti-cheat thing.
Right.
That's the only reason Windows exists on my system, but it's good that it exists because I discovered lately a few applications that don't have an alternative on Linux. That's why I switched to Windows, use them. But now I cannot switch to Windows because I'm still waiting for them to fix the weirdest update they ever released that bricked NVMe's. So this update just, if you do too much activity on your SSD, it will disappear. You get a blue screen of death, or now black screen of death, still with a B, but you get a black screen of death. And when you reboot, you go to the BIOS, the NVMe doesn't exist. You have to do a hard shutdown to get your NVMe back.
Right.
So because of this update, because I kept automatic updates on because I don't care. I don't use Windows that much. So I saw that the update got installed. So now I'm too scared to switch to Windows. I'm waiting for them to fix it, to announce a fix, because if, as not as a surprise, but when Microsoft has not acknowledged the existence of this bug yet, officially.
Mm.
They haven't acknowledged it.
Yeah. You mentioned that there was a lot more open source on Windows these days, and I wonder how much, obviously, Microsoft has embraced a lot more open source software. Yeah, but having the Windows subsystem for Linux on that thing, I think has changed a lot of the way people think about open source software, specifically open source software on Windows now. I think that's you're getting a lot more people that normally would have to do all of their development kind of work on a Linux machine anyway. Now they can do that from inside Windows. So now hopefully you'll get some Windows open source software, even though
I'm hoping.
Even though it's still a proprietary operating system, you still aren't necessarily safe just because your software is open source. But it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, especially the fact that now Arch is officially supported by
That's
WSL.
right. Yep.
Yeah, Kando, one of the developers in Arch, Robin Kando, a French person I know very well. I talked to. He's a good person. He's the one who announced it to everyone. He announced it on the French channel first because he's French. So Robin Kando announced it, and I tried it. Because before there was unofficial WSL image for Arch. It was broken in so many places. But now that it supports low level, it's not only a simple WSL that doesn't have access to systemd. Now it has full support for systemd services. So this is amazing. And I tried it. It's flawless. It's like you can do your Arch development on Windows through WSL Arch. Right. So I can do that if I wanted to, but sure. I am on Arch. I don't want to. I have Arch already, but
but that's the people that maybe were stuck on Windows for certain things anyway.
Yeah.
Now
you can use graphical tools as well.
Right.
So no need to limit yourself to TTY apps. You can use full-fledged GUI apps, no problem. Just install them. If they have services, you can enable the services.
The GUIs bloat.
Oh. Yeah, the GUIs bloat. But before, there was no support for systemd services in the unofficial image. There was no support for systemd services. So if you needed any service, you can enable it so you can use anything. Now, it's as if you have Linux, full-fledged Linux on your system. Of course, you can't install desktop environments, but who needs them? If you can do your coding and use the GUI apps, that's all you need.
Right.
So it's you can stick to Windows, but Windows 11 being what it is, it's hard to stick on it right now.
I also think that's part of the reason why people are leaving Windows and trying Linux is because now all these millions of Windows users around the world are playing with Linux. It's like, well, hell, I like this more than Windows. Why don't I just install Linux, full-fledged Linux, instead of playing with the subsystem, right?
Yeah, and you can, and the one thing that attracts people, that's a weird thing that attracts people to Linux, is the fact that you can customize it and theme it. And because Windows is dark mode, and not a good dark mode, because half the apps never go in dark mode. So it's like semi-dark mode and light mode. So
and you can still keep Microsoft Edit because we've got it on Linux. So.
On XeroLinux, it's been available since last release.
Right.
But you can alias it like I did to Nano. So instead of Nano launching, MS Edit launches if you want to. But anyway. Yeah.
Well, Steve, I think that was about it for the questions I had for you. Anything else before we wrap up? Anything you want to give to the audience for a last word?
Yeah, just don't forget, if you can help the project any way you can, contributing is the most important part. And the other part is, for now, for the immediate, is help me reach the $2,000 on my fundraiser, because I really need the money to be able to get the equipment to continue work on XeroLinux if you want the new release in December, because I'm gonna be there for a long time. So
Right.
if you want a new version of XeroLinux, help me get there. And other than that, a lot of changes are coming to XeroLinux. I showed you a few sneak peeks. There's more than that coming in the pipeline, but yeah, the zero, and you can find me on. I'm always on Discord, almost 24/7. I sometimes find myself typing in my sleep. But yeah, if you need help, if you're using XeroLinux already, if you need help, find me on Fostodon, or if you are already on Fostodon, because now it requires an invite for whatever reason, or on Discord if you need immediate replies. And YouTube, I'll have a video on Wednesday, and I go live every Saturday at 9 p.m. Lebanese time. I don't know how to call it other than that, but 9:30 p.m. Lebanon time. I don't know what time it is around. It would be around the world, but I think it's like 12ish, 1 p.m. CST, 1:30 p.m. CST. So I'll be live every Saturday. Even another thing I forgot to mention. When I am for the duration of my stay in Serbia, there will be no more videos on the channel. There'll be only live streams, because I don't have multiple monitors. I only have one. So I need a second monitor to have OBS, because I don't have a Stream Deck, not Steam Deck, Stream Deck. With one monitor, you would have to use to use a Stream Deck. So I don't have one. So videos will take a break until I come back, because I am coming back. I'm not going there forever, but maybe in a year, who knows? But so only live streams, because live streams, I don't need to switch scenes and stuff. So live streams are gonna go on every Saturday at 9:30 p.m. Lebanese time, or 8:30 p.m. Serbian time. But yeah, that's where you find me, and find me on my live streams.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with me today, Steve. And I put all your links in the YouTube chat. I'll also link in the show description. I'll add all
donation
that.
Part.
Yeah, I'll add all that as soon as we wrap up here. Thank you guys in the YouTube chat. Also, you guys were great. Questions, comments. You guys always fabulous. Other than that, let's wave bye to the YouTube chat. Bye.
Live long and
Emacs eShell should have won the poll, by the way.